see if they can extend their dominance across the globals stage. Vanyak and Marius, Pixie just steadily trying to creep up on the opposition, but for Marius, he's just waiting to see whether or not he can break out these floors from underneath Valor and Mansour, doing a decent job to prevent Vanyak, Pixie, and Marius from an outright collapse.
And as smoothly and as cleanly as some of these trios would expect, especially with so many third-party potential there. You know, we saw Atris just kind of yoink that elimination away early on in this game, and now Vanyak just trying to target it after. He feels like he has him soloed out, drop him down a few layers, but he's able to catch himself and not let this pressure get to him too much. But in this situation, but even if they win this here, they have to be careful. One team in front of them out of zone. You saw Chaff, you saw Reason, Mr. Savage. They're towards the north of them, so this is not going to be as dead side of a rotate as they think it will.
But the main thing that I'm noticing, Jacob, is that Vanyak, Marius, they're not carrying any white heals, so unless Pixie actually has something to work with, yeah, these guys are going to just have to get out of this position. They can't afford to keep tanking.
Storm Surge all being accumulated in a blink of an eye, kind of leaving Pixie and Marius by themselves. The good thing, though, is they're 568 damage above the threshold. The bad thing, though, their loadout, their material count, that one is not looking good. 5 bandages. Luckily, they don't have any HP missing yet, but they have a max pull all across the water to the other side of that island. It's not going to be easy for a single person in this game, but there goes Malabukka. Nice drop on the Hottie. He needs it, and he needs it now because he's barely above that damage yourself. Especially if you hear action going down around you, you got to use that as a distraction, try to get out. But Marius finds himself in a tough spot, well above the damage threshold, and another elimination on the eye drop. But he is by himself as a solo with a rotation to make. Now he's just getting ticked away little by little. Talal is able.
Pixie just content to farm things out a little bit at OXR headquarters. Spot King off in his own surge base. Decent ways away though. So all this plethora of heals and loot and easy rotations, but
they reconnected, making it that much harder for anybody to take him down. Marius, he's now trying to move up. 10 damage above the threshold. At least they're in front of the curve. Quickly looking towards the right, Curly, Cooper, and Reed. That was their momentary target.
Bino, Kanata, and a little spot of trouble here. Just saw him take a massive chunk of his shield. Pixie now looking
on the low ground.
But Queasy and Verstappen are the only one.
Especially if you're uncontested like they are, you could always go back for those extra heals. As OXR HQ, just as busy as we last left it. Pixie, Marius, and Vanyak. They kind of got a huge base, basically a 3-room apartment. Everybody gets their own bathroom. They're just kind of replenishing a lot of those bills that they used to get there. You see the extra hills in and outside of their base, and they're just a hop, skip, and a throw away from the actual zone. The only thing that we do not know yet, Taco, you know, a win, but 10 eliminations, that's about a 105 game. Close the gap in an instant. We already saw that out of a few teams so far.
Challenge for hype between those two teams, and that's not even considering other trios in the lobby like Vanyak, Marius, Pixie, all of these experienced veterans that know full well what type of potential high ground holds, especially with the zones falling over this part of the map. It is a very strong pinpoint location. So many teams are going to have to burn through materials in those lower layers. Just a bit further, but Marius, Vanyak, Pixie, they're looking to layer swap. They know they don't have enough, and Marius taking out the moment that he tries to chop through.
He just gets stuck. That 1 second cost him what could be an opportunity here as Pixie's just trying to make it to the front side of the zone. He's just getting cut down every step of the way, but finally reuniting with Vanyak. This is their moment. They have to figure out a way to make this count. Every single one of these uncontested games count as Vanyak's making a play, challenging for the high ground. He has it. See, it's a whole different ball game when you are uncontested. Vanyak, Pixie, Marius, they're trying to continue to find their stride, just like some of these other teams in this lobby. 110 points. It's going to be tough because now we're going right back on over the open. And most of this next zone is just all low ground, except for the far western side of it all, where there's going to be a mountain that you can try. He gets steamrolled by Dark. Marius is the one who took down Poyo. Him and Vanyak are feeling the pain as well, because they have to do it without Pixie.
But they've at least got frontside low control, and that's going to have to be enough. They're going to need as many eliminations as possible because they need more materials.
Counting, only 2 teams in front of them, both of them weak. Vanyak trying to do what he can, but he only has 1 team.
Both of them are not, but Pixie, he's got the better end of this deal. Vanya's still lurking overhead. Cole trying to see if he can recover anything from this situation, but it's not going to come to fruition just yet. In fact, chase down shield potions to feel a little bit more comfortable with that battle.
Insane scenes hit us yet again in Game 5. And it's just leaving Cold in such a tough spot. But I see it in the feed. Was that Paper? Was that Victor V? Was that Epic Whale? All going down at Dystopia. Meanwhile, Vanyak, Marius, and Pixie, they have literally no time. They can do whatever they want. They have the reboot card, one on one side of the mountain, Peter the whole outside. They're starting to target down that Queen. As you see in the feed, the cleanup is complete. Cold goes down, and another 0-point game for what was looking like the most dominant team coming into this event. A huge wake-up call as they're in 30th place, but for
Pixie and Marius, they don't want to lose sight of the primary objective, and that is just to keep securing the strong end game placements. And yet, one more time, we're seeing a zone pull right towards Foxy Floodgate, and I almost have to, I just want to know, where is Queasy at? Because he's got to be close by.
If I'm any person in this lobby, but Queasy, of course, I'm saying please pull north. Get away from these mountain ranges. Get away from that dip in Foxy Floodgate. And if you're a team that's realizing what's happening in this game, Trio taking the front side of the zone, something Yamzo knows to do best, but they have to be careful. Marius, Vanyak, and Pixie, they're bouncing around with those crash pads, instantly climbing up that mountain, and that just means better positioning right away, and it gives them that luxury to look back, see all these other players rotate through. He's peeking through the stair. He sees Acorn,
He needs a massive refresh here, but it's Pixie who finds Hottie, Marius, Pixie, and Vanyak now looking to see what more they can seek out.
4 eliminations so far into the top 12. Placement points are flying in. Half of them at least at the top 8 is Veno, Vico. They're in that line of path. Marius looking up for only a quick second. Not really focusing on the Queasy up above. It's probably too hard. Bringing it back up to his IGL.
And that is all Swizzy has to keep tabs on alongside Merstash. Everything getting dropped at Queasy's feet so he can have the ultimate success here. But Marius, he's in too much trouble.
But at least give him a fight. It is going to be them as Marius is forced outside of the zone. Almost a 1v1 against Clicks, and Clicks gets the knock. Can he get the elimination?
So much consistent success that they are both within our top 5 here in day 1. There's a real chance for Seti and Cammy to try and see, you know, who is really the problem. And right now, based off their performances, Jacob, I don't think either of them were. I think they were both just ready for a switch up.
I know when we talk about like some teams just forming, you know how they sometimes hit that honeymoon phase? What a perfect time for them to hit that phase and keep that consistency going. Coming together, qualifying in Major 3, and really taking that opportunity, just that chance to play at the Global Championship and running.
Too long, you might find yourself getting picked off along the way. But right now, Marius, Pixie, Vanyak, all they're focusing on is how to find the best success in this last lobby. Doesn't matter how you start, what matters is how you finish, and that goes for day 1.
Back into the game, so we have to make our numbers count.
But without Merstash, Queasy recognizes, hey, I'm gonna have to shift into gear and bring to light what kind of fragging capability I might actually be able to unleash, because some of these other teams that are just doing everything
and hopefully maybe even getting to the top 5, especially being contested by not only Tayson, but as that fight ends, so many other teams moving over in that direction as well. Marius, Pixie, and Vanyak, this is one of the teams that they have to potentially go through as well. As you're seeing, Vanyak get another elimination onto Mountain. That's their second one overall. 254 of football. Storm Surge is a huge thing that's taken them all out as the full trio's back to the lobby. Now Acorn's pressuring in. Marius sees him coming from a mile away. He goes up and over, dunking on him yet again. Now it's him versus Pollo. Zone's gonna finish the job. Marius with back-to-back eliminations.
And see if he can bring it together, but Marius, he's just not slowing down anytime soon. Just continuing to barrel his way forward. In comes up upon Yepko, but instead, it's gonna be Marius, Pixie, Vanyak. Now looking to play spoiler to these teams in the mid-ground. Marius just continue to tear away at everybody's HP.
Yeah, that double pump, and he's putting it to use. Storm is down in the outside of the zone. Marius is gonna clean that one up. Couple more points, push them further and further.
Now means that Queasy has some material to work with, and Marius, he's torping his way through, but he might just run smack dab center into where Queasy is at, not to mention
up above, but not too distracted. They drop down, surprise attack coming from above. Down goes Queasy. Pixie's gonna follow as well. Vanyak's now by himself. He gets taken.
To see a lot of adaptations, and Pixie already
Pixie, Vanyak, and Marius. You can see the zone just outside of OXR HQ. These guys have been smooth sailing so far in this game.
Marius and Pixie being the top 2 players for shotgun damage and moving zone says enough, Jacob. These guys have been getting...
Will it be a chink in the armor? Will it be another walk in the park for our OXR HQ team? Things looking like a walk in the park. I mean, we've seen them do this many of the games so far in this competition. And the crowd will chant for Vanyak3kk. They know things are looking good for their M8 boys right now. Oh! Uh-oh. Pixie will be fine. I'm sure the revive will come through. Got me excited there for a second. You know me, I like action. I like seeing the knock.
You were excited till you noticed that it was done that we were almost expecting to see in day 1, but as long as they manage to capture that kind of performance in this secondary day, there might not be a point amplifier, but there's still plenty of opportunity to catch up on some positioning in the leaderboard.
Yeah, I'm always saying you got to leave no regrets behind when you play on such a big stage like this with a huge life-changing amount of money. And I think yesterday some teams may have played just a little bit too safe compared to how they play during the majors.
They're starting to get a little bit of posturing now. 8th zone. They're ready to maybe try and make that approach towards holding height, but it's still very early.
Is this the Vanyak3kk height game? Are we finally getting to see it here on land?
We finally got a chance here. 411 points. These are on that side. Camby, iDrop, Howdy going to be one of them. But on the high ground, there's not been very many teams that can contest them. Pixie, Marius, Vanya. This could be their chance to get that BR and then get another elimination on the pump. Can they clean it up, though?
I like this from Viko, though. Still just out of sight, out of mind, but he might be able to make a huge play if he can find another elimination. Said no, Viko jumped on first. That's going to be the
Once it looks to chop. Pixie, Marius, Vanya. They've held on well for now, but this is the hard part. Can they continue to hold on as the 11th zone ends?
Idea to pivot. They have a very realistic chance of taking over the top 3 if they're able to actually play through their own strategies. But Pixie, Marius, and Vanya, every time they're on the screen, you almost anticipate that the Vanyak3kk is going to follow shortly after. Marius.
To adapt, and you're really seeing a lot of these teams adapting at its finest. Marius, Vanya, Pixie from the OXR HQ. This is exactly what you're talking about. Consolidating the heals early on in the game. 3 med kits in the inventory. Extra med miss. So now, even though they have to rotate on out, they're as healthy as can be. And Marius, last time we seen him on this high ground, they weren't able to convert. But this is a second chance. That one up. So Luke going on over to him. But they're just pressuring over and over and over. Whether it's an AR, the double pump, they're not letting any team look up.
It's an issue, though. Alex resigns from the low ground. They might be able to pick off Yuma, but they got
Cars has to go on by himself. Vanya's taken down Peter. Nobody has had a chance to look up. They're denying opportunity after opportunity. Marius, Pixie, and Vanya could go all the way.
Without Acorn or Queasy home, Kanata as a solo. Marius with another elimination, just carrying all of the resources back to his Tarper. Vanya down to his final couple of builds, but thanks to that refresh, a little bit further, he can extend that height take. Pixie thought he could maybe drop. He's got Marius right next to him. They're causing so much catastrophe, but Pixstar and Demons, that's a fight they might be willing to take.
I could count on one hand how many healthy teams are still left in this game. Kanata has no shot. He's trying to get as many placements before he eventually does go down. Vanya, I'm not sure what happened, but he gets knocked. 2 players up on the high ground. Sphinx trying to battle back, but Pixie gets dropped.
But you don't want to be operating with scraps when players like Marius, Pixie, and Vanya just have so much at their disposal. Uncontested. OXR headquarters. They can spend so much time play to come into fruition there. It's going to be a huge setback too for Chap and Reason to try and bring it back. But Marius, Pixie, Vanya, they've got so much damage right now above the surge threshold, Jacob. All they want to prioritize is the high ground hold. They have made that very clear here today.
Yeah, and they got a smooth rotation in. Every other team in front of them is also doing the same thing, so they're not going to be contested by many. Cascade further and further with the eventual winner getting 65 points. But in the feed, you see Chino. He's going to go down. Win this game with a certain number of eliminations. For one of the first times today, we could see a new first place team. But Taco, don't let me get too ahead of myself. 2 different games today. We saw them on high ground, and they faltered. This could be third chance to charm.
But look at the amount of materials they have, Jacob. 85 builds, and that's just on Marius. They are so strongly overhead. Nada, he's going up. Marius trying to stop it. Marius brings down Bolts. There's no way he's going to let this one slide away.
The win, and it's not enough. 3v3, the eventuality comes in. Marius is dropping down. He wants to finish the fight, but he's going to go down. Vanya trying to stay up. Two different medkits.
Vanya still from up above. He's got a couple of chug splashes. He's got a couple of medkits. This might be our first heal-up that we are witnessing, Jacob. He knows me, the last line of defense. He's violating going forward. He can't manage to figure out where Vanya is at, though. There's so much space in between them. Shadow still has 130 left in the Medmist, but Vanya, more bandages, still has the splashes. Is Storm Sickness going to come into effect, or will Shadow manage to do it with the Medmist? Vanya scrambling. He found another medkit. Easy, they're doing everything they can to try and collapse onto this position. Vanya's already been back up into the running, but the Cap and Mustache, he's lost too much HP. He's going to be forced to fall back.
This is it. This is the moment. Why wait till game 12? Marius, Pixie, and Vanya, they've given an opportunity here to take down first place and potentially surprise attack them, but they have the low ground. Marius, Pixie, Vanya, they have the high ground, and since they do have that,
delaying their own end game.
it's something that we saw come into play. So Pixie is making sure to defensively hold that high ground. Marius as well. Flowberry Fizz, just make sure to top off the shields. That way they can force them down further and further. They continuously are getting chased, but you say, you know what? You want to fight? Come get it.
They're throwing everything at this one. The inventory, all of the heals, they're disappearing. Marius
is carrying shotguns. All they have is the Wrecker revolvers in comparison to Marius, who's rocking both, but it's a gray Sentinel at best. And that Wrecker revolver just not able to get close enough.
These dudes, they do have a little bit more of an upper hand, and I think Marius knows they're running out of HP resources to keep this fight going longer, so they are definitely now officially on the clock. His head on a swivel, continuously turning around, but Taco talked about the double pump, and there it is in action. Marius is able to get the knock onto one, but he gets dropped to 30 HP. They desperately need the siphon, but oh no! Disaster strikes Pixie, Marius, and Vanya, who are also uncontested at the OXR HQ. And the most insane thing about this all is it was Queasy in that last game that ended Marius, Vanya, and Pixie's run. They not only pushed over to their side of the map, they chased them down and sent them back to the lobby.
They're not really anticipating anybody to be nearby. And even with Vanya overhead, they're so preoccupied.
The same thing to Kanata, looking all around. Marius does not even know. And you can see his loadout. He's the one.
They've completely shut off Darm's entrance back towards Demas. Malabuka trying to see if he can make that wing flank approach. Malabuka, though, big tag, but an even bigger one on the Darm. Darm's going to be put down. Elimination.
I just want to give him a huge pat on the back, from underdogs to top dogs. These guys looking like a serious threat. Vanya, Pixie, and Marius. We saw that team floating around the OXR, not going for the high ground just yet. 6 zone, more than half of the game left still to play.
This is where players really have to test their composure, the mental fortitude, the emotional control.
And even with Kanata down below, they're lurking, no visual audios, but if you look at the sky, that's Marius, Vanya, and Pixie, but they lose Vanya throughout this mix. They're on that middle ground where all the chaos ensues.
Vanya just barely managing to start to get his life back up to a healthy level. Swizzy, Mustache, Queasy, though, they see the high ground. They're starting to go for the chop. Malabuka gonna be forced to drop eventually, but can Malabuka even get down in the first place? I don't think so. No, height domination is where the thrill will be tested.
On the high ground right now, they're getting challenged, but they're fighting for it all. It's Pixie, it's Marius, and Vanya. If they want the win, it is all up to Queasy and Taco. There are more than enough points still left on the board for them to overtake the first place spot, but they have to survive. Vanya goes down. Marius is gonna have to pop that slurp juice and reunite with Pixie.
But where's Queasy? Pixie and Marius, they're so incredibly low. They're not gonna be able to save Vanya. They'll at least get everything that he had to offer at the final moments. But Marius, Pixie, as a duo, they've got to find Queasy. They don't know where he's gone off to. Seti in the low ground. If Marius and Pixie aren't careful, they might run smack dab into the center of where all the congestion is building at. But they're crash padding up. They're trying to get back on the height. They know what is in front of them, and they want to
place locked in. It's all or nothing. Down goes PH, but no! Marius is now down as well. Pixie with the pressure on his shoulders. You gotta remember though, Queasy is down. They are 50 points shy. He needs to win, but he